But on that particular day, we would have red soda water, watermelon, barbecue, and stuff of that nature back in the day. And we would sit around. One thing about it, we had a television, but we didn't look at TV all the time because we would sit around and our daddy would tell us old stories because my daddy was born in 1896.
Wow.
So he had a lot of stories. 1886, and he had a lot of stories.
Yeah, that's what I like. I like listening to stories. Mm-hmm. I liked when you said about the church women, how they would make music. Tell me about that.
We were excited about going to church. Our parents would get us up, and we would have to be at church at Sunday school. It was mandatory. You didn't say, I don't want to go to church. Mm-hmm. And you was excited about going. And we did not have pews like they have now. We would sit on old wood boxes. My mother and them used to sing the old 100s, what we call I Love the Lord. He heard my cry.
I know that.
Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Precious Lord, take my hand and lead me on. Those were some of the old songs that we and they loved to pray, and they would begin to pray, and somebody would holler out, continue in prayer. We didn't say a 5-minute prayer back then. They would say continue in prayer to thank the Lord from where the Lord had brought them from until now. And they would begin to sing above my head. I hear music in the air.
You want to sing right now, don't you?
Yes. Yes, Jesus loved me. And then we knew that Jesus did love us. Why? Because the Bible told us so. So those are songs, and the old sisters begin to get happy as they begin to sing, and they begin to pat their feet, and they begin to make music with the feet and make music with the hand. And I tell you what, that was a blessing to be back in church then. It wasn't as silent as it is now. And then we had the old windows that we used to say hush the windows. So that would be raise the window because we didn't have air conditioning. So we had an old piece of cardboard that they was fanning with. So you could hear church going on miles and miles.
Wow.
And people would begin to run the church and old wagons. And I tell you what, it was just a blessing to be in church. I tell you what, God is good, and God has been good, and God still is good.
God is good. You give me goosebumps just listening to you. Oh, yes, my God.
Those were some of the things. And then the preacher began to say, didn't have to ask. Will somebody pray? Our parents was excited by prayer, and they was excited about thanking the Lord for the hog that they had just killed, or thanking the Lord for the crops that they just had grown, thanking the Lord for the food that we had just eaten before we came to church, and for the food that a lot of times we would bring food to church in a box because see, we couldn't afford to go back home after church if we had evening service. We would have church on the grounds, and we would have food on the grounds, and everybody would bring food, and they began to share the food, and they didn't say this child can't eat out of my box or whatever. We respect the parents, and we respect each adult. So we would ask them, can we have corn on the cob and fried chicken, biscuits and gravy. And I remember when I went to school and we didn't have a cafeteria, and we would used to carry our lunch, and we used to have to carry had a syrup bucket, and you had biscuits off in there, and you had South Joe bacon off in there, or a piece of ham off in there. That was your lunch, amen. And if our parents had 2 pennies to give us, you could get a box of chocolate milk or white milk, and then you could get some Big Jack cookies. I tell you what, those was the days.
I love. How did you celebrate holidays? It's close to Christmas now, so how did y'all celebrate Christmas?
You know, it was all of us, but I never remember ever going to bed hungry. It may not have been what I wanted, whether it was fish, rabbit, squirrel, possum, armadillo. And sometimes the people that my daddy worked for would have deer, and my daddy could take that deer meat and make sausage. And so this time of the year, we would begin to get prepared. We would have oranges and apples and old candy cane candy and walnuts. We had walnuts, and my dad, this time of the year, we would be picking pecans because every season we had to work. There was different things that we would be picking pecans and selling them. That was our extra money.
Wow.
And
what age did you start doing that?
Oh, forever. I remember now because by the time I came along, a lot of my sisters had already gotten married, and my brothers had gotten married, and they had moved